Now by Dr. Auqaab Alizai, the strategic studies professor. Dr. Auqaab, welcome. How do you see the current situation when it comes to negotiations between Iran and the United States of America, given the psychological war and the economic war led by President Trump against Iran, and also the stubbornness of Iran and holding on to everything they want?
Yeah, this is where the problem lies, primarily because there was an opportunity for some form of settlement if both sides were willing to accept the MOU, which Iran was. It had the upper hand. America realized that it had given too much of the cards away, too much concessions to Iran, so wanted to renegotiate, and this is where there was being an uptick in violent actions and repercussions on each side. And so it's become very unsettled again. And then this reinforces Iran's position in a way to show that Trump, the United States, unfortunately can't be trusted as far as obligations towards any agreement. So this is why it's holding back. I think both sides becoming very tough on each other in the sense that they're having a hard stance. There's also a lot of domestic problems within Iran, as well as the United States, the pressures that Trump is on and the Iranian government is on right now from the hardliners on each side to not give in. But that's also what they're bargaining with as well. So they have to keep a tough line and a hard position for each side. But the problem with that is anybody going to give on certain aspects? So this is why Iran has introduced aspects where they're going to have very serious red lines on, such as the threat of the use of force and the use of force itself in actions that the Americans have propagated. At the end of the day, we have to recognize this was a war that the Americans and the Israelis started. So in real terms, Iran has the upper hand in this respect because they can hold out. And Foreign Minister had actually also said that Iran can wait till the end of the Trump term. I don't think it's till the end of the full term in 2.5 years, but more likely at least until the midterm elections, where the likelihood is that the Democrats will come in. They've been winning a lot of the by-elections, you could say, and the primaries for leading Democrats to fight against the Republicans. So there it is, that dynamic the Iranians are waiting on. So there is a tough line on each side. For example, compensation, 300 billion Iran is demanding. Now America is saying, you must compensate us as a counter to say that Iran must compensate because they're not willing to hold on to actually what the MOU said. So there's a lot of discontent on both sides. And I think the hardliners, especially in Iran, are lining up now. They're getting more senior government positions, so they're taking hold of government action and policy in future as well, which, as you said, is going to cause a lot of problems. So we're not looking at an easy ride. We're not looking at a settlement anytime soon. I think this issue will go on for a little longer, at least until Trump believes that he must give certain amount of concessions on the horizon of the midterm elections in the next month or two. In November they are, but the campaigning season is going to be starting now already. So he has to calculate all this if he wants to have any chance of winning the midterm elections.
دكتور عقاب، من يعرقل المفاوضات أكثر؟
Dr. Auqaab, who is obstacling the negotiations more, given the Memorandum of Understanding and the idea of war and the United States threats and, in many cases, the stubbornness of Iran? In your opinion, who is being more stubborn and who's hindering these negotiations?
Well, the problem with this is that once war starts, all the plans go out of the window and sides react to each other. The idea of the reaction to each other is more about how each country can maintain its own perception of its own dignity and pride, and especially in the international sphere, but more particularly in the domestic sphere, their own domestic audiences. So Iran has produced a hard sign primarily because it was attacked. It was not doing anything per se that was going counter to international decorum and peace in the world environment, the way Israel made it perceived to be. But Israel wanted the chance before Netanyahu was probably going to lose his election soon in October, and he will be out of power. So he wanted to do the last thing possible to engage himself, but also he has problems himself. So he incited this within the United States, which unfortunately gave in to whatever coercion or whatever leverage Israel has over the United States. No president other than Trump in his right mind would go to war with Iran for such reasons on the behest of Israel. And they did that. And now Donald Trump is stuck. And the problem with being stuck is he started something he can't resolve because he was blindsided. He didn't understand the exact situation. Iran is standing its ground in that respect. And if you think about it as a matter of defense, they have no choice, because if they give, then it's a sign that they will have to give and other things later on. So they have no choice. Any country would be like this. Any country that is being attacked would have no choice but to stand its ground. It's just the way the world works, unfortunately. And that's a matter of stubbornness to many people, but they're talking about their own dignity of the whole nation being attacked by foreign countries for their own reasons, not instigated, concocted, so they have to stand their ground. And this is a logical conclusion of it. The unfortunate problem here is that a lot of the Gulf countries are being dragged into this, and because they had assurance from the United States that they would be protected, unfortunately, they found out they're not really being protected. So the whole dynamic of the region has changed completely in such an extent that what will happen in the future after this conflict reduces or comes to some form of settlement, because right now it's not war, it's not peace, it's somewhere in the middle where anything can go wrong. There's uncertainty everywhere. That, as you know, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan have formed an alliance of some sort. I believe that maybe even Egypt may join in the near future, which makes sense for a stronger alliance between those countries. And I think even Iran has really accepted this is not an anti-Iranian issue, just to settle issues, but also for the fact that maybe the future of the region will be a local regional security environment where they all settle their differences without extra regional issues, meaning United States or other countries coming in to act as spoilers like Israel. So this is a dynamic that may take place, but I don't think there'll be a settlement anytime soon.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور
Thank you so much. We were joined by Dr. Auqaab Alizai, Professor of Strategic Studies. Thank you so much for your vision.
Thank you. You're welcome.